Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video we discuss and react to the latest news coming out of the football club, and today we finally announced the winger. No, not that one. We're here to talk about Brendon. Now in today's video we will break down the man himself, look at his player profile, break down his football and CV, and talk about the competition for places that he faces now that he has signed on the dotted line. But before we dive into that though, we need to announce that the man signed a 3-year deal with the football club for an undisclosed fee from Man City. And as I'm currently recording today's video, there's no been any official leak or anything like that to suggest what the price is, but as far as we know and what's been whispered is that it didn't cost a lot. So now let's have a wee look at him then, shall we, and see what we are bringing on the table. Just from the eye test, you're getting someone who's very direct, someone who's skillful, and the boy is just an absolute pace merchant. I think that's the biggest attribute he will be bringing to this squad, is his electrifying pace. I'm calling it right now. I think now that he's joined the football club, he is the fastest player in the team. And one of the things we should notice right away when we see this man play is how brave he is on the ball. The fact that he likes to attack the fullback and try to get beyond his man. I think we've all seen wingers and that over the years, whether it was at our club or other ones, people that just didn't like getting beyond their man. It just doesn't fancy that challenge, who will get their turn and try and go for an easy pass or an early cross. That is not what this man does. He wants to beat his man every single time and get the ball into the box. Now, I'm not saying he's a world beater and he skins people left, right and centre. Even when he does fail for the majority of the game, he's still got that belief and his confidence in his own self that the next time he has the ball, that time he'll get beyond his man. And if I'm honest with you, that's probably the biggest takeaway that I can from this guy. Beside the pace, his mental attitude and his mental toughness, I'll say, when things aren't going right, he doesn't panic and shy away and get scared. Nah. The guy is brave enough to try again. But as you can imagine, he obviously has some weaknesses, and his biggest one, his most obvious one, is his end product and his final ball. Now, I talked about how brave he was about getting beyond his man and willing to do that, but when he does get beyond his man, and that isn't a shot or a dig at this transfer. Nah. We've had players just recently at our football club. It seems to be something that's quite common whenever we bring a winger, is their end ball and their final product isn't quite there yet. But I just wanted to mention that because when we start looking at his stats, I think that backs that up, that his weakest point of his entire game is his end product. And I think it's worth mentioning that yes, we are signing this man from Man City, but he wasn't a regular or anything, as you can imagine, in the team, but he was exceptional at the Manchester City youth level, and that is where a lot of the hype around this guy really started to kick into gear. But as always, whenever we do these player profiles and we look at the stats, we don't reflect in the youth level. So I just wanted to mention that yes, I am acknowledging he was absolutely superb at youth level, but we will not be discussing that and breaking down those stats. We will only be focusing on when he has been playing at the top level. And it's interesting when you look at his career path, because it's not always been in the same league. He spent some time in English football, he spent some time in Dutch football, and of course, if you remember, he spent some time in Scottish football with Hibs as well. But let's dive in and look at some numbers then, shall we? And looking at last season, where he spent time with Preston down in the Championship, he played 20 games in all competitions, where he got 2 goals, 2 assists, which equaled a goal every 417 minutes, which isn't that far off some of our wingers last season, by the way, when you just look at it from a stats perspective. But I need to mention the fact that the goals he did score last season, was just in cup competitions. In 16 games last year in the league and the Championship, he didn't score once. And reflecting back on that season in the Championship, it was eerily similar to his time in Scottish football, where once again he played for Hibs, but in that season he played 22 times, he managed 1 goal and 4 assists. So it's very, very similar. You can see a sort of pattern forming when he does play. I mean, he only scored 1 goal in that season, but do you remember what he was like going up against Tavernier in that year? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I love Captain Tavernier in there, but he was roasted pretty badly by Barker nearly every single time Rangers played Hibs. Every time just sprinting at him, cutting away. He was a threat every single time he had the ball. But to wrap up the numbers, let's take a step back and look at his entire football and CV. Once again, we won't be talking about his exceptional stats at youth level. We will just be focusing on the full-time level when he's been playing out on loan and everything like that. In those games, he's played 77 games. He's got 7 goals and 8 assists. If I'm being brutally honest, when you just look at the numbers and you look at the output, it doesn't make for good viewing, it doesn't get you excited, but the one point I would like to make is when we brought Ryan Kent in on loan, he came from a failed loan where he didn't play well at all. His stats were absolutely putrid. We all scratched our head and said, what is the point of this? And that turned out not too bad for us. Now, am I saying this guy's Ryan Kent 2.0 and he's going to come and have a similar impact in Scottish football that Kent had last year? Nah. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I'm not going to write this guy off because his stats didn't jump at me. Where he's been and what he's done doesn't jump out at me. I'm not going to write the guy off for that until he's been given a chance to pull on the shot. Because I'm not being disrespectful when I say this, but the teams he's played in before aren't that stacked with talent. I mean, they've never been out and out favourites every single time they've played. They've been in kind of teams that rely on counter-attacks, defending deep, especially with Preston last year where it wasn't really a good season for them overall. This is a team now that he's coming into filled with quality attacking players now that his playstyle will be vital to. I mean, his trickery and the ability to beat a man may unlock the doors versus these teams that are parking the bus and Stein in there. He's got the ability to beat a man and whip in a decent cross sometimes, so that could be the difference between winning and losing certain games, and that could be vital to us all season long. And something that my dad's always said and something I've always remembered: players play better with good players. Now, the competition for places section was very interesting to look at because we've reverted away from the formation we were playing towards the end of last season, and we're now playing with two wingers where basically Arfield just likes to cut in and play close to the striker. That's kind of what we do right now, but when you look at it, considering how strong we are in those positions, we've only really seen three people, and that's Ojo, Scotty Arfield and Jordan Jones, who just had an exceptional game in the last game versus Midtjylland where he announced himself to the Rangers fans. But when you look at it so far this season, that's it. That's only names that's announced themselves in those positions. Yes, we have a lot of bodies, but there's still people we leave, like Grezda, who they're literally just trying to drop kick out the door. We've got someone like Glenn Middleton, who has gone out on loan and should be leaving to Hibs, quite ironically, very, very shortly. And of course, we've got Jamie Murphy, who's only made one appearance so far this season. He's still struggling to find his feet after that injury. Jake Hastie's a bit of an interesting one. Started the season off with a couple of chances, didn't play that well in European football, was trying far too hard. He's fell away now and there's whispers about a loan for him as well. So how stacked we were at the wings and all that, we had the discussion. When you look at it where we are now, there is a space there. And if you'd have told me at the start of the season we wouldn't be that strong in the wing position, I'd have laughed at you. So with all that being said, now it's time for us to share our opinion. That's the man's player profile. That is what he could be potentially bringing to the Glasgow Rangers. Now it's time for me to hand the reins over for you guys to get your opinion about Barker down in the comment section below. Do you think this is, one, a good transfer? Are you happy with it? And two, do you think he's going to be a success at the football club? As you guys get your thoughts and opinions out, I'll give you mine very briefly. One, do I think this is a good transfer? Am I happy with it? Yes, I am actually, because I think we need someone like an absolute pace merchant that can just sprint at people, not to start every week. I'm not expecting him to start, but to come on one of these games versus a couple of tired defenders with that trickery, force and error that could be the difference between drawing and winning a game. I think it does make a lot of sense, especially when it didn't cost a lot of moolah. Which leads me perfectly to the second question. Do I think it's going to be a success? Honestly, yes. And now that me and thee have had their say, let's grab your refreshments everyone and welcome Mr. Barker the only way the nation knows how, with a cheeky little sponsor break. 3, 2, 1, sponsor break. So over to Twitter then, and I asked them, is Barker what Rangers needed? There's been 1,054 votes. Thank you so much for getting involved. 42% of the people votes for no, but 58% of the people votes for yes. Let's see what the people's had to say. David Bloof writes in right away, the new Kent. The comparison is just never, ever gonna go away, is it? I feel for the lad already, if I'm honest. Dale Valentine writes in, hopefully this guy will heal my Daniel Kindeas wounds. Stephen Kirkland writes in, excited about this one, CJ. He's at a bigger club with bigger expectations, speaks English, and I believe the silky winger will be a fan favourite. Tom Phillips writes in, scenes when Barker scores a goal to win us 55. Mark Kelly writes in, I think he will be a good signing. Stevie B writes in, Barker is very quick, direct, skillful and not scared to go at defences. Also versatile, being able to play at the wing back positions. I think it's a great signing. Hopefully he can offer a similar threat to Kent's style. If not, even more. Happy with this signing overall. Dr. Colossus writes in, I wouldn't say we needed him as such, but please, he's signed. He's a good player. And the last one we'll read out comes from Flat Earth Boy. Have you ever seen Ben the Water? He writes in, just hope people give him a few weeks to get up to speed with the squad. Nobody likes playing against speed. Ask Tav, he gave him a roasting 2 years ago. Our wingers and midfield could be the best value for money in Britain, which is quite an interesting last tweet to read out. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard from the people. You've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. Shout out to the absolute legends on the Patreon's account. You should have already had a podcast with me, Baz and Paul at Seas up there, and there's going to be a lot more shows coming very, very soon as a thank you to the Patreons, and as also thank you so much for watching today's video. I've been CJ Over 92, and bye.